When did the class clown go way too far? Class clown decided he was going to rip a loud fart during the middle of a test and ended up crapping his pants on accident. I've always wanted to put on pants, eat a greasy meal to save up a huge fart, and then ask somebody to pull my finger. Then I would slowly squeak out the fart and just keep pushing it until I shat. I feel like with a good-humored group, it would be legendary. He put a hit of acid into our woodshop teacher's coffee. Fortunately, our woodshop teacher recognized the onset and immediately called into the office and said that he's leaving right now as he's feeling very unwell but will remain in class until a replacement arrives. We had a teacher fill in about 15 minutes and our woodshop teacher left. At lunch, we saw that his car was still parked in the parking lot. This was well before cell phones, so there's no way he called someone. Come to find out, he ran to a local park and waited out the storm as he realized that he was dosed with acid and that he was a teen in the 70s, so he knew. The next day, he taught class as normal and didn't mention it. He made weed brownies in culinary class that were distributed to teachers. Lots of blazed and very confused teachers that day. He got caught and had to pay a huge fine and serve like 3 weekends in jail. Meanwhile, someone in Austin brought weed brownies to school and was caught. The total weight of the brownies was counted as marijuana, and when arrested, he was facing life in prison. He would try to jump around parkour style, desk to desk, all class long. Sometimes would fall comically, breaking things and falling in people, trying to get a laugh. Constantly redirected for trying to do run flips on the wall, telling horrible jokes, or balance large objects on himself. He always wanted attention. We just wanted to learn beginning French. We all, including the teacher, took to ignoring him. One day, he couldn't handle people not paying attention to him, so he tried to see if he, for the first time ever, could do a backflip. Landed on his neck, was out of class for a long while. In 6th grade, 1991, our class clown put a tack on someone's chair. His victim screamed so loud that it startled everyone, and the clown's laugh turned serious immediately. You're an a-hole, Derek. Pierced his ears in the middle of class, then used a pair of earrings he was given from the bottom of some random girl's purse. This all happened while the teacher was asleep. Another one hid a bunch of dead fish in the ceiling tiles the day before summer break. The school reeked for many months. Joking around how the class was crap and he'd rather die, took off his tie and stood up in front of the class and pretended to hang himself. Teacher just came back to work from a long break after finding her son hanging in his room. None of us knew why that's what she was off work, but I remember her face going white and just seeing her heart break all over again when he was done. Safe to say, nobody even laughed, and he was made to feel like utter crap. When he made fun of the quiet kid for crying in the back of class because he had a family member pass away and he turned up dead the day after, hung in his room. Ah, my time to shine. One time in year 8, one of the class clowns stood up on his desk, pulled his trousers and underwear down, and started swinging his D around, shouting, "Anyone want a taste?" The teacher called the head teacher, and he got expelled from the school and is now known as D-Swing Boy. I wish this was a joke, but it's not. He called in a bomb threat and got in very big trouble. So many bomb threats at my school. As I don't live in the US, there were not many consequences for this, and the terrorist was usually in the class that had a math test that day. He put laxatives in the teacher's coffee and crap just went crazy. He ended up getting suspended and the teacher tried pressing criminal charges on him. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day. He got kept back in class over break as a punishment for being too annoying or something along the lines of that. The teacher then needed to leave the class to go and photocopy something, and he got up and started messing around at her desk. When he saw her coming back into the room, he thought it would be funny to bolt over to the door and slam it as hard as he could on her hand. She broke 2 fingers and had a bad panic attack. He got suspended for 2 days, and the school tried to press charges on him. Trolling a girl in the first class of the semester, she makes a comeback about comebacks, and he uses all the powerful comeback jokes, and she gives him the finger. He says, "If that finger had balls, you'd be pregnant." The teacher, with half a smile on his face, calmly says, "Dude, get the F out, man." In math class, we were watching a video on some material I already forgot, and the video was around 2 minutes long. Once the video ends, the class clown says, "That video lasted about as long as your last marriage, Mrs. T." Mrs. T's husband had died a few days after their first-year anniversary. High school trip to London, finally boarding plane after many security stops after a bombing scare in the city. Get to our seat and he says, "Yeah, we got the bomb on board," as a joke. Had to wait 4+ hours for team to search the plane. I've got one. 2 guys in my AP Stats class who were always goofing off. Usually pretty funny, no victims, etc. One day they, for some reason, decided to go in on a very smart, popular, relatively quiet girl. Just roasting everything she said, would not let up no matter how many times the teacher or other students were like, okay, chill. Finally, one of them made a crack about how she was so sensitive because she'd probably been AR'd as a child. Whole class went silent. She burst into tears. From what I understood, she had a good family life, so that probably did not happen to her, but it was clearly so upsetting to her that she ended up leaving class and going home for the day. So, I mean, don't make effing jokes about trauma to people when you don't know if they've actually experienced that kind of trauma. Threatened to bring a gun to school and shoot me. He brought a fake gun to school and chased me around with it. Oh wait, he got away with the stunt and everyone else thought it was funny. You all suck. We went on a trip to the country courthouse in Ottawa, Canada, and some kid put a pin on the Prime Minister's chair. He got arrested. The time that this happened was when this kid, we'll call him Billy, came back from the bathroom. We were told that we were getting a new student who had a little bit of autism. When Billy got word of that, he sat up and said, "Hey teacher, we're getting an autistic kid, right?" The teacher nodded, then Billy squatted and flailed his arms while wildly screeching. The whole class, including the teacher, was mortified. I'm just glad he got in trouble and couldn't go to recess. We were in 5th grade, by the way. Recruiting most of the class via text to download a dog whistle app, so whenever the teacher called him out and took his phone away, someone else could do it, and it made a high-pitched sound that was hard to tell where it was coming from. And his name would be cleared until he would do it again. This ending with tears on the teacher's side and went on for almost a week as the teacher was too kind for discipline and eventually ended when the teacher left her job and chose a different field. This is 1999. It's been 6 months since Columbine. We're attending school about 40 miles away from Littleton. Lockdown drills just became a thing. Due to our proximity, ours involves the local police drilling alongside us, clearing rooms, etc., etc. Might just be publicity, might not. We're all lined up against a wall in our dark as F room, and the class clown grabs a stapler off the desk, snaps it open so it's fully extended but not dumping staples, then whips it against a kid's leg next to him, driving a staple into his kneecap. Of course, the kid screams bloody effing murder. 3 dudes in full tactical gear stream in, take like 6 seconds to assess, grab the class clown, drag him out. Literally never saw the kid again. Don't know if he got sent to expulsion school or what, but he was like a ghost. You bet your butt we minded our P's and Q's during every lockdown drill after that. He was actually a friend. He and his girlfriend had adult relations on a sports bus. We were all sitting there thinking, what the absolute F? It was no secret that they were involved, but we were literally half an hour out. They could have waited and effed in the parking lot and nobody would have seen or cared. Both were expelled. His father had a construction company, good one, and he wound up there and has done well. She moved states away, and I have no idea. He was pretty popular with the girls and at least a year older than everyone. We were on a school trip for a week. He ended up making a voice recording of them making you-know-what sounds, moaning, groaning, rattling the closet door, and put it through a very loud Bluetooth speaker in front of random people's rooms. Too bad for him, a bunch of teachers were staying in that corridor as well. So that didn't go too well for him. Edit, we were all like 13 years old, he was 15. He did some even weirder crap later down the line, but that's not too class clowny. 2 class clown boys in middle school tried to teach a mentally ill male student how to masturbate in the bathroom one day. The mentally ill boy's mother was a teacher and caught wind, and the 2 boys weren't seen for a while. They're lucky assault charges weren't pressed. Last year, one of my classmates poured hand sanitizer on his desk and set it on fire. I wish I was joking. A friend of mine, a true class clown, had heard that if you poured rubbing alcohol on yourself and lit it, you would not burn, only the alcohol would. So, at a party, he poured alcohol all over himself, lit it, and started walking around like the mummy. It began to burn, he began to panic, and fortunately adults were there and they put it out and took him home to his mom, a nurse. He was covered with 1st and 2nd degree burns. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.